Hello everyone. My name is Meenakshi and I'm a tutor with Insurance for Good. And today I'll be walking you through basic geometry involving lines, their parts, and angles. So here's just a quick summary of what we'll be doing today, and this lesson is great for anyone in the third or fourth grade. So first, let's go over what a line is. A line is basically a straight mark with arrows on both ends because it extends or it goes on forever in both directions, which is indicated by those two arrows. So here we can see an example of such a line. Lines also have parts that we can get from them. For example, a line segment. And it's important to note that a line is made up of infinitely many points, and all of these points come together to make that line. While a line segment is just part of a line which connects two of these points called endpoints, which, as the name suggests, they are the points at the ends of the segment. Think of it like you have a chain of paper clips, and a segment is basically just one of these paper clips in that long chain because you have a part of the longer chain or the line, and there are two definite ending points. You name a line segment by these endpoints. So for example, I would call this segment here AB because it has ending points A and B. Another part of a line is a ray. A ray has one endpoint and it extends forever in the opposite direction of that endpoint, which is why there is an arrow on one end. So here we have ray BA. So a ray is named from one endpoint to another endpoint of that line that is in the direction of where the arrow is or where the line extends. An arrow is written over the letters to indicate where the arrow of the ray is. For example, here the arrow is written in the direction of the A so that you know that the ray starts at point B and goes in the direction of point A. So before we move on, let's do some quick practice. Take a moment to look at the image and pause the video and write down or think about what you think this is, and I'll wait for 5 seconds. Welcome back. If you thought this was a segment, then you are correct. So now let's do something a little more challenging. Take a moment to pause the video again and identify what the selected part of this image there is. So the correct answer is array. If you look carefully at what was selected by that marking there, it shows that the ray starts at the endpoint and goes on with the arrow. So now is a great time if you want some more review. You can just pause the video and visit the slides to access these links and practice a bit on your own with the quizzes or the games. Or you can just wait until the end and go back and review as well. So now we're going to move on to types of lines, like parallel and perpendicular. First of all, parallel is a word to describe something that never meets or never touches. So when we're talking about parallel lines, we're talking about two lines that go in the same direction and they never cross each other. So here you can see the two spaceships are going in parallel directions because they're not crossing each other's path, because that would probably be dangerous. So before we look at another type of lines called perpendicular lines, let's go over angles. Angles are basically the little spaces or corners that are created by two lines, rays, or segments when they do cross and meet each other. This point where they touch is called a vertex. So the point is important because that's how we name the angle. So we would call this angle A and we would give it a little symbol in front that looks like a sideways V, like the less than sign. These angles are measured in degrees, but not like the weather, and there are three types of angles: obtuse, right, and acute. So think of acute angles like small, tiny angles. You could say that they're cute. So a standard measurement is used to determine whether an angle is right, acute, or obtuse, and that standard measurement is 90 degrees. A 90-degree angle is a right angle, and it basically looks like a corner or the corner of a box. And anytime you see a right angle, it will have a box or a square in that angle space. And that should show you that that angle is 90 degrees. If an angle is smaller than 90 degrees, then it is acute. But if it is greater than 90 degrees, then it is obtuse. And obtuse angles look big and wide. So let's do some quick review. So take a moment again, and I'll wait to try to identify the type of angle this is. So the correct answer is acute because once again, it is a small angle. So now let's look at something a bit more complex. So try to identify the angle there that is circled in red. So this is a right angle, and what you see here is a combination of parallel and perpendicular lines. So now that we have a basic understanding of the types of angles, let's look at perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are basically lines that cross each other or intersect at 90-degree angles. So when you see perpendicular lines, you'll see a square or a box at that angle where they cross each other. And this shows you that they are intersecting at a 90-degree angle. Perpendicular lines can look like a lowercase t or an X. Great job, you made it to the end. And there are several activities you can do now if you want to just review everything that we went over. You can do some practice quizzes or play some games. There's even a song linked here that you can use if you want to review everything that we learned today. Thank you for watching, and I hope this was helpful for you.